Alrighty. All right. Good morning, everybody. I think Jeff may jump on for a little bit, may have Eric Golden jump on, and you know how it is. People will be rolling in. So through the call. So today is our Connect to Collaborate. This is just an open forum, just to go through questions, concerns, anything that you guys want to talk about. That's what we're here to do, just to mastermind together. So does anybody have anything that they want to start with?
I'm
And
just
if not, I do.
Go ahead, Kath.
So, well, before I do, actually, I do want, does anybody have anything, you know, that they've come like pressing that they do want to talk about? I want to start there.
I think the biggest thing that I want to talk about is yesterday, and that was amazing. And I've also been meaning to ask you, Kathy, how it's going with your Levi class training and roll out your YouTube stuff.
Yeah. So with Levi, I went gung ho on that for about 2.5 months and started building our YouTube channel. And Andy can talk more to this too, because he's a YouTube guru like Levi. So I went gung ho on that, and then I realized for myself, it's a full-time job. It's a full-time job to really maximize a YouTube channel to the level that that he has it, that he coaches to, even what Andy and Aileen do down there. It's a lot of work getting it going. Once you get into the rhythm of it, I can see it being a little less work, you know, probably a couple days a week. But anyhow, so I just put it on pause for the minute, which is the worst thing to do, because they say you should at least be feeding it once a month, but I mean once a week at a minimum. But I just don't know if I want to dedicate that much time to it. So that's like I said, it's a lot of work to get it going, to really make it a legit good channel. So, but I believe in it. I mean, look what Andy's results are. So Andy, why don't you just jump in on that and piggyback with, you know, and talk to somebody who may be interested in building a YouTube channel, like give them the real scoop of, you know, what they can expect.
Yeah, we well, you know, not to be patting myself on the back, but we put $3 million under contract last week from YouTube.
Nice.
You know, and that was just in 1 week. So, and we probably got 6 new clients this week already, and one is a $25 million commercial customer.
I love it.
So,
okay.
You know,
There's no doubt about it. But talk about, you know, for somebody who hasn't started a channel, like what the realistic time commitment, all that would be.
Yeah, it takes a while to get going. I mean, you know, it took us 7 months before we made the first sale off of it. This coming November, we will have been in existence for 2 years. And it changes so much. I mean, like literally it changes. It's like this AI thing. It changes almost every week. You know, it's like, or AI is changing every day, but it changes every week. YouTube will change their algorithm. They'll change the way they look at views, or, you know, we're not into the vanity matrix of it. So we don't care how many views we get. We don't care how many subscribers we have. The main thing we're looking for is that phone to ring, you know. So in order to get the phone to ring, you know, I guess you do have to be concerned with the views and the subscribers, because that it puts you in front of more people. So, but anyway, to get to that point, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work. I don't think if I had tried to do this on my own, I could have done it. I mean, not to the extent of what we've done, but having Aileen as a partner, and now we brought on 2 buyers agents and a transaction coordinator to handle all the other stuff. So anything below 700 grand, we kick off to a buyer's agency, or one of our buyer's agents, and just get a referral from it. And which Aileen and I, we do a 50-50 split on that. And you know, we just let them handle it. So, but anything 700 grand and above, we kind of handle. Aileen pretty much handles. But those have been coming. I mean, we just had our buyer's agent put a $1.5 million condo under contract last week. And it was a referral from a YouTube client. It was one of our YouTube clients that bought a $400,000 house, and their cousin happens to be a multimillionaire. So they paid cash for the house, I mean, for the condo. So it's what we're seeing is, when you're fresh out of the gate and there's a certain pattern, Levi actually teaches this, that you have to say things in a certain way to get YouTube's algorithm to pick up your videos. I thought at first I was like every other real estate agent. I thought, well, if I just go out there and tour a property and say, hey, look at me, I've been in the business for so long and this is why you should call me, then I thought, well, that's going to work. That'll make me go viral and people will start picking up the phone calling, but they don't care who you are. All they care about is what they're searching for. So you have to make yourself searchable, so you have to, see, like now, if you go into Google and you type in, what is it like to live in Orange Beach, Alabama? Our videos are going to pop up on the first page of Google, which is what the goal is. That's what you're trying to do, is get yourself searchable. So it's taken us a while to get here. I mean, it really has.
But $3 under contract last week, bam. I mean, that's amazing.
So, Andy, may I ask you this? You were on yesterday's, weren't you? I think you were on there yesterday for Hey Jen. Now that you've kind of got the foundation laid, could you see getting some of those tools to help save you a bunch of time, right? Get yourself walking, whatever, where you're just given the content and then bloop, let it all put together?
Yeah, I think with our channel, the way we've designed it is it's such a personal touch that I don't know that I want to use the Hey Jen in order to put the videos out there, because I want them to be authentic. I want people to know it's me, because that's what resonates. That's what's making the phone ring. I'm dealing with a guy right now I've got under contract. He's really something else. I'm having to really baby this guy. He's from Tyler, Texas. He's buying a house here. I helped him in the process of selling his house and everything. So it was like, literally, we're 3 months out, then, oh, we're only, 2 months out, then, oh, I sold my house yesterday, we got to move. So now it's come to, and the agent on the other side is not a good agent. So the listing agent, I'm having to it's like pulling teeth with this guy, getting stuff done.
So Christy
Having to
asked,
talk this guy off the ledge, but this guy completely trusts me so much that it is literally like, he'll call me and go, I trust everything you're saying, but he's buying the house sight unseen. He's moving here from Tyler, Texas, moving his whole family, all because of the YouTube channel. But it's like,
he's not even looking through. Are you showing him video of the inside of the house, or he's not seeing anything?
He said, you go look at it and tell me what you think about it. If you think I should buy it, let's buy it.
Wow. And he's went into detail of what he's looking for, layout, all that kind of stuff. And wow.
So I told him, I said, I'll do a video. I've done a video of the neighborhood, and that's what he's buying. He's like, we just love that neighborhood from your video and everything that it comes with, the location of it and the school system and everything. And they've got a kid that they're actually going to homeschool her, but it's so close to all the shopping and everything, but you're 15 minutes from the beach. So you can still drive to the beach in 15 minutes, but you don't have to put up with the traffic that comes with it. And that's what he's buying it for. He's like, I love the location so much. The house is kind of secondary, which is crazy to me.
Awesome. And so Christy had a question, two things. Number to Sean's question, I felt like those Hey Jen videos, that guy did that open house video or whatever, it looked like it was him. Like you could really not even tell that wasn't him live on there. So Christy's question is, can you do a blend of both? And curious, Andy, if you would even consider doing a blend of both, or are you just gonna focus on a
Let me ask you this, Andy. I've heard you say that your audience is now kind of telling you what they would like to have what if you put just one AI video about and ask them, hey, what do you guys feel about me incorporating this? It's going to respond immediately if someone hits my web, and asking the audience, put one together and get their feedback. You may find out they all like, oh my gosh, no, we just want to see you, or wow, that's impressive. No, that's, you don't know, but maybe you could ask your audience since they're communicating with you.
Just
Yeah,
obvious, yeah.
the only
So-
downfall to that is with YouTube, because I focus on one platform. I focus on YouTube. I don't put anything on Facebook. I don't put anything on, the Twitter, the
Yeah.
TikTok, none of that. It's everything points back to my Facebook page. So even our website points back to Facebook. I mean to YouTube. Our Facebook page points everybody back to YouTube. But so with YouTube, if you put a video up, when you upload that video, there is a question in there that says, is any portion of this video created by AI? And if you answer that question, no, and you put the video up there, then if they find out it has been, they'll delete your channel. Now, if you say, yes, it has been created by AI, then they're going to flag it at the top of it. It will say this video is created by AI. So yeah, you can put it up there and you can let people know that, hey, this is my AI avatar. And what do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, that's an idea. I mean, I'm not totally against it. It's just that I feel like we have created such a personal relationship with our audience that, I mean, I'm gonna tell you, people get on there sometimes when I just don't call out, like we'll do our favorite seafood restaurants, and if we don't call out one of theirs, I get blasted. It's like, oh my God, why didn't you include Mikey's? I'm originally from Orange Beach, I mean, and they'll just blast me, and then I just have to spend, but it's engagement, and that's what
Yeah.
YouTube looks for, is they
Algorithm,
want
yeah.
people engaged in your video.
Huh.
So the more comments you get, whether they're good or bad, I've heard people say, well, I delete negative comments off my YouTube video. No,
Yeah.
I leave everything up there. I don't care how good, bad, or ugly it is. I had a guy on there the other day put on our video, one of our videos, he said, if you move to Orange Beach, Alabama, you are stupid. This guy is lying to you. So I put on there and I said, do you live here? With a question mark. And then he responded back, no. And I said, how can you, so then we kept the conversation going. There was like 40 comments between him and I. And that video all of a sudden started getting, it was getting maybe 2 or 3 views a week. All of a sudden now it's getting 2,000 views a week.
Was the rest of your audience supporting you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They're all like, this guy's an idiot. You can't satisfy everybody, that kind of thing. I mean, and it's true. Not everybody's going to like it. And listen, I'm about to do a video as to why I'm moving from Orange Beach, because I'm moving off this island. I can't stand the traffic anymore. I can't take it, so my wife and I just bought a house in Foley. We're going to do our initial walkthrough today, and it was new construction, and I just couldn't turn it down because of everything they were offering. So I'm doing a whole series of videos on why I'm leaving Orange Beach.
Oh, Lord.
Interesting.
It kind of hurt. Do you feel you're not worried about that hurting your chest? Because how far is Foley to Orange Beach?
Yeah, that's what I asked. Yeah.
10 minutes down the road.
Oh, okay. So it's
Yeah.
really just a suburb.
Maybe he'll get half his audience in the next year or two to rebuy over there and sell the other house and get double.
Well, no kidding, for sure.
Yeah.
Or at least people that are coming there, they know, like, hey, I can move to Foley. It's 10 minutes away, still, to the beach and still be there. So Christy asked a question. So this is kind of where I was going with when I started. If somebody wants to start a YouTube channel, how many hours a week do you realistically say one needs to be focused on? Obviously 2 years in, like yourself, it's not the same time, because now you've got the system down, you've got it down, you go shoot the video a lot quicker, than you did the first video you ever did, all those things. But for somebody just starting, if they're like, man, I really want to start attracting customers through YouTube, how much realistic time on the front end? And then after a year and a half, 2, like yourself, what are you doing now?
So to do it the right way, in order to get to the point where we are, it took a lot of hours. And I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, for the first year, this is all I focused on was the YouTube stuff. Aileen handled all the real estate part of it, and I handled just the YouTube.
That's what I was saying. It's a full-time job, I feel like, to get it going right.
but I also wanted to learn how to edit. I wanted to learn all the SEO. I wanted to learn how to geotag the thumbnails. I wanted to learn all the ins and outs. And the reason why is because if I ever get ready to hire this stuff out, I don't want a video editor when I sit there and tell them this is how I want it done for them to look at me and go, well, it can't be done. That can't be done. And I know it can because I did it. So that's why I wanted to learn it, is because, and now it's become fun. I mean, it's like, and the whole thing is with this, with AI, the recent, everything that's going on with AI. So now it used to take me, I'm gonna tell you the very first video I ever did, it took me 14 hours to do the video, edit it, put it up on YouTube, the whole thing, and it absolutely was horrible. It was terrible. It was the worst video I've ever seen. But it's like, Nick said yesterday, my sucky video is a lot better than your no video.
Right, that's
You know,
right.
so
Yeah.
so the fact is I just got it out there, and then I started learning. I went down the rabbit hole and started learning everything I could learn about the editing process and using this editor and that editor. And I even went out and bought a $2,000 editor that I don't use anymore. So it's like I spent all this money and all this time, and then now I've shortened the process. I can now take a video, I can go out, shoot the video, get back here, edit it, cut it up, put it on YouTube, SEO the crap out of it, geotag the thumbnail, create the thumbnail, put everything up on YouTube, and I can do it all in a matter of about 45 minutes. So, and that's all because of AI. I mean, I use, and then when I get ready to go shoot another video, I'll take an idea that I have in my head and I'll type into ChatGPT because I've trained it as to who I am. And I'll say, give me 5 ideas for a YouTube video to make it go viral and make people want to watch it and call me for the real estate needs. And then I'll put it in there. Here's what I'm thinking. And I'll type in exactly what I'm thinking. Then this thing just spits it out to you in a matter of seconds. It'll give you 5 ideas. Then it'll ask you, pick a title, and do you want me to write you a script? Now,
Yeah.
I don't go off of scripts, but I mean, you can get the script. I simply put bullet points in my head, and I know what I'm going to talk about when I'm out filming the video. Plus I know because I'm the one who edits it, I know how to do the video. So like, I might say the entrance and go, so you're thinking about moving to Orange Beach, Alabama? Well, today we're at a condo complex called Phoenix 8. You're not going to believe this condo. Stick around to the end because I'm going to tell you something really exciting. And then I'll pause, because then that'll let me know when I'm editing it that this is the first part of the video. Then I'm going to pause. Then I'll do the subscribe. Then I'll pause. Then I'll do the body of the video. I do this all in one shot, where other people are taking 3 and 4 days to make a video because they don't know the flow of the video. So
That's what it takes a while to get used to. That's what
Yeah.
I was finding, and for me, anyway, my son, I really did the whole YouTube thing because I thought he would, take hold of it. He and I were doing some together, and, I thought I could just help get him going. And then he decided he didn't want to put all the effort into it either. My 100% focus is not on, building up my business here. It's more the, agent attraction side, but I still do, my focus on my real estate side is just loving on my past clients. That's all the real estate care that personally I care to do. So when I got so you have to be dedicated to video is the bottom line. You got to be dedicated to video. If you build your YouTube channel, you just got to know it's going to take time. Like you said, it took him 14 hours to do the first one. So, I would say from my experience, you got to plan on spending in the first several weeks, maybe months, you got to plan on spending 15 hours a week or so, at least, building your channel. Like you're going to do that week after week after week consistently for several weeks, several months. And then as you get better on video, all that like goes 14 hours down to 45 minutes, right? So there's that law of diminishing return that happens over time. So it's just more work on the but still worth it. But Andy, I know you're putting together a program real quick that's similar to Levi's. And when is that going to be ready? So Andy will have something that's available that probably is not as expensive as Levi's. I don't know, but when are you going to have that ready? And that somebody could talk talk to you about that if they want.
Yeah, it won't be as expensive as Levi's, and I wish, you know, I keep saying every month I say, well, I'll have it ready next month, but then the phone doesn't stop ringing, and it's been like, you know, Aileen took a month off and went on vacation for an entire month to Colorado. So while she was gone is when we put $3 million under contract. So guess who had to handle all that? So it's, and in the meantime, I'm trying to buy a house, you know, so. I mean, it's been nuts, but I mean, as soon as I can get and what my goal is to get, because I'm managing 3 YouTube channels, so my goal is to get all the videos out till the end of the year scheduled on all 3 of those channels, and I'm almost there. And once I get that done, well, then I'm going to have time to sit down and finish the modules. I'm about 50% through on the training modules. And the reason it's taking me so much time is because I'm taking all the stuff that I've learned from Levi, all the stuff I've learned from another guy, Mike Sherrard, all that stuff, and I'm combining it into one and making it so simple that a 10-year-old could come in, look at the modules and go, okay, I get it. I can create a YouTube channel. And so because
Maybe.
there's a certain,
Yeah.
you know, flow to it.
So
And I'm
maybe-
incorporating the AI into it as well.
Yeah. So be on the lookout. Just know, you know, obviously we'll have that on the workplace on Freedom Team. We want to help promote it for people who might be interested in it.
Yes.
Let me ask
Any
you a
other
question
questions?
here,
Or go
Andy,
ahead, Jeff.
Can I
I'm
just
always
jump-
about.
Go ahead, Sean. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. I was going to say, I'm always about, you know, the facts tell stories, so, and I love to share your story, Andy. So let me elaborate on it again. So that first year, it took 7 months to get a transaction, closed out 5 million at the end of year 1. Here you are in year 2. What have you closed out through July or through now?
Through, let's see, I think, well, I just recently capped, so I did, and Aileen capped the first month, that, you know, after her anniversary date. So she'll icon again. You know, but she's doing some of her personal stuff too. But I think I've done close to, let's say off the channel, we're probably done right at 15 million so far, you know,
And
so.
how many transactions is that?
Oh God, let's see.
This
I'd have to
year?
look it up.
Or total, you're saying this year, 15
This year.
million?
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
close to that. It's let's see, I can pull it up. It's probably maybe like 12 transactions, I think, Sean, because they're, you know, we're in a really high market, you know,
Sure.
so on an average, you know, our average is like 700 grand. You know, so I mean, almost everything that we're doing is, you know, on up there in price. Like
Yeah.
I said, you know, we just sold a turquoise unit for 1.4 million. We currently have.
You think, Andy, you'll hit icon, or because right?
I won't, because I capped, and then a month later it reset, you know, so, but I will definitely icon this next time coming up, because I'll cap within, let's see, my anniversary date started August 1st. I'll probably cap at the end of August. So I'll cap within 1 month.
Yeah.
So,
Man.
and that's, like I said, that's just from the YouTube channel. If we get this big, we've got a $25 million commercial deal working, and I don't know when that's going to take place, but we're probably going to refer that out, because neither one of us want to deal with. I don't know anything about commercial, so you know, I've kind of turned that over to Aileen, and I'm like,
Can
you
help
just.
you?
But yeah, it's been, I mean, it was, to start with, it was a little rough, you know, because, you know, every day you doubt yourself, you know, you sit there and go, should I keep doing these videos? I mean, I just don't understand why the phone's not ringing. And you know, I'm sure Tim wouldn't mind me telling this, you know, but I'm helping manage one of, you know, Tim's channel for his team that he has in Louisville. And he's kind of going through the same thing right now. They're wondering why the phone's not ringing. And I'm trying to help him figure it out. But he had a so-called professional team handling his channel. But I mean, right off the bat, I found some things that needed changing. But Tim's one of those that, you know, Tim wants the solution. He don't want to talk about the problem. He wants a solution.
Yeah.
You know, so, which I love that about Tim. So I mean, you know, he's looking at fixing it right away. You know,
Well,
so.
even yourself, it was 4 months, right? 4 months before
Yeah.
you even had the first phone call. So you just got to know it's a game.
Yeah, and that
you know, it's
first-
a long plan, and you know, it's 100% works. I think if people dedicate their efforts into doing it, and the beautiful thing is, it's no money out of pocket. It's a free marketing tool. And so if I was fully focused on my just production, 1,000%, I would put some efforts into YouTube,
Well, you know,
1,000%.
it's that
Because you don't spend any money.
it's that old saying that everything works if you work. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I had an agent just come over, you know, they onboarded with us, you know, a couple of months ago. And then I tried to tell her during the whole process that, you know, EXP is fantastic, but it's not a magic wand. I mean, you know, you're not gonna put EXP on your business card and all of a sudden you become a millionaire. That's
Yeah.
not, you gotta work. And
Yep.
so she wanted everything, she wanted this, like she thought, boy, everybody's just gonna give it to me. Everybody's gonna give me the keys to the kingdom. And you know, and it just didn't work that way. So consistency is king, you know, in anything that you do, and with this YouTube especially. So, you know, with us, you know, we're putting out these videos. We've actually gone from, we're actually scaling back a little bit, you know, where we were doing, I was doing, you know, 3 videos a week, and they were averaging probably 15 to 20 minutes long, each one of them, because you think people's attention span's really short. But now we've actually cut back to doing 1 long form video a week, and they're almost an hour, and they're an hour long. And
Wow.
people are watching. My views have doubled. Our subscribers have doubled. So it's
wouldn't
like,
recommend somebody start there.
no, I wouldn't. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend starting with shorts. You know, everybody says, oh, short videos. I wouldn't do that until you build an audience, you know. So
Yeah.
once you hit 1,000 subscribers, the game changes, you know, because then you can monetize, you can do all kinds of stuff on YouTube. And
So I
then,
know, let me just interrupt you for a second, because I know Jeff is not going to be on here for a short time. And Jeff, what were you wanting to say or ask a minute ago?
No. And so I'm at a coffee shop to meet somebody actually, but she's got COVID. She texted me here about 20 minutes ago. So anyway, I was already
So now
here.
you
So
get to
I
stay.
apologize for the background noise. But no, yeah, I just had this thought because I think like Andy, like, you know, you said like, you know, your first video, 14 hours, now 45 minutes from start to finish, everything done, published, out the door. And it's like anything, the more we do anything, the better we get at it. And the easier it gets.
Yep.
The first listing presentation I went on, oh my goodness, you know, like whatever. And now, you know, and after you do 30 of them in a couple of months, because you're getting so many calls, it's like, you know, I could do it in my sleep, you know, and I am doing it in my sleep half the time. Like, you shut it off, you know, and it's like anything like that. But the other thing that I had too, I think just, it made me think about like, for everybody, I think it's just so important to like figure out what you're going to do, but focus on it. Focus. You know, if I focus on 5 things, nothing has my focus. You know, and 6 months later, I'm still just scrambling all over the place. So I just think it's better, whatever it is, whether it's a YouTube or, you know, probates or what my Google business page or whatever, like focus in and build it and crank it up. Once it's up and you got it, now you can go do a 45-minute video. You could go focus on something else at this point, Andy, and still keep your YouTube channel humming. It's humming. You know, you could, I just see that so much from people, then the frustration gets in there. Pick
You
something,
know what,
and just the consistency, get it done, and just it's done. You know, the funnels that I've been doing, you know, it's like I finally just realized, like it was like 3 months there. I'm like, oh my God, I'm pulling my hair out. I just took like 2 weeks, and other than making my call, I made a few calls in the morning, and then the rest of my day I sat at this coffee shop for 10 hours and building these funnels, you know, and just doing it and doing it. I've had to get my PowerPoint together, all that stuff. And I finally just got it done. And now I've done, you know, 27 webinars, and I've got people coming in, and I've put in 900 people in the funnel, and it's working, and I don't have to think about it. I'm on doing other stuff. I just run the ad, and now, you know, tomorrow at 9 o'clock, I do my presentation, and I'm done for the week with my funnel, you know, it's just done. So anyway,
you know, one of the things that makes me think of is at the Oregon Build Conference that we were at, Scott was at that too. One of the speakers, I can't remember which one it was on the stage, was talking about that exactly. You know, in real estate, we talk about getting a niche a lot of times, right? So it's like what you're talking about, pick something, focus on it, get to be the expert, and go put the time and effort. And he asked, you know, how many of you guys out in the audience sell, you know, do for sale by owners or have done for sale by owners? Most every agent out there raises their hand. And he said, you know, how many of you have read or how many of you guys build your business? Scott, you can chime in here. Or how many of you guys really work for sale by owners? I think that's what he said. How many of you really work for sale by owners as part of your business strategy? So several agents raise their hand. How many of you guys have read 10 or more books on for sale by owners? One hand out of 300 or 400 agents there goes up. He's like, you guys want to be experts. You guys want to be good at something. You don't even go learn what it is you're trying to be good at. And so all that to say is whether it's YouTube, whether it's probate, whether it's Google Business, whether whatever, get good at something, learn everything you can about it. That's what you did, Andy, with YouTube. You dove into every program out there, Mike Sherrard, Levi Elastics. You dove into all of them. And now here we are 8 months into the year. You've done $15 million in volume a year later because you became the expert, but then you implement it too.
Yeah, that's a good point because like I get you would not believe, especially doing the whole recruiting thing. You talk to different agents and doing other deals, but everybody always comes up with the latest greatest idea. It's like, oh, have you tried this? Oh, you need to do this. And I'm just like, I'm all that stuff comes in here and it just bounces right off of me. I'm like, yeah, no, it's YouTube. Everything's
talking. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the last couple of days I've been talking to a lady, whatever, and she's TikTok. She's been doing TikTok stuff. I haven't done TikTok. It's not my focus. I mean, I've got somebody posted on TikTok for me. I don't know how to even log in, I don't think. But she 2 years ago, 2022, she did her very first TikTok video. Her first like 7 or 8 videos, 0 views. And she was getting frustrated, but she was learning it. And she was learning the algorithms and she was learning the hashtags. And the more she did it, TikTok starts putting her up a little bit higher on the thing. She starts getting some views. Today, 2 years later, like she showed me her channel, like she's got some views that have had 200,000 views now. She'll post a video now today, and within an hour, it's got 8,000 views within an hour. Like that's become her thing. That's her thing. It's TikTok. But again, I'm just saying, like, look, I'm not saying everybody go do TikTok. I'm just saying, like, pick
What's the last
something.
email? Hold on, let me look. Give me a second.
Pick something and focus on it and watch what it can do. You got to mute Eric. He's a rookie on Zoom.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, you take.
Yeah.
I don't even know her real name, but you take GoGo, and she does Instagram. And I'm telling, and you talk about the queen of Instagram, and she does millions of dollars worth of business off of Instagram. But that's all she focuses on is Instagram. Her entire, I mean, she has somebody following her around with a camera all day, every day, and she just films what she does, and it's become her thing. But that's her thing, But yeah, she picked the lane.
You pick something, get good at it, focus on it, and don't, as agents, I can be like a squirrel, in my career. It's like, oh, that sounds good. Let me work on that. Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, let me try that. And not becoming, the expert on the one thing like we're talking about, whatever it is. Maybe video isn't your thing. If you're not going to get in front of video, if you're not, it's always uncomfortable in the beginning. No matter what we do, it's always uncomfortable because it's new. And if you're not going, if you are not going to do video, like I'm not committed, then I'd say don't start YouTube. Find another path that you get to be the expert on and become the expert there and just focus on that. And know, like to me, what we've said for the last 30 minutes, it's going to take some time. Farming, if you're going to go farm a neighborhood, it works. You have to do it consistently. You've got to become, what's the farm experts do out there? The ones that really just maximize a neighborhood. What did they do before they became the known realtor in the neighborhood? What did they do? Go learn what it is that resonates with you and go do that.
Well, to your point, you take like Tim did the training on the FSBOs and Expired. And I'm going to tell you, that's probably some of the best training I've ever seen in my life. I mean, that was phenomenal, but I don't want to do that. I'm not going to take the time to do it. So that's not my passion. YouTube is my passion. So when I did, I bet you I've read every single book out there that talks about YouTube. I've watched every single channel where somebody, the vidIQ people, the whole every one of them that talks about anything new. I've got my YouTube set up to alert me when a new training video comes out about doing YouTube.
There you
It
go. Yeah.
alerts me, so I sit and watch it. So I keep up with daily. I mean, it's like I'll bet you I watch probably 4 to 5 hours a day of YouTube videos learning how to do YouTube.
Yeah. See, and
So,
you're like doing 15 million already and you're still in the learn. So,
yeah.
I think we've kind of talked about that. I want to spend the last 20 minutes, unless y'all want to continue down this road. I would love to talk about, next weekend is when really the changes go into play with NAR. There's been a lot of discussions happening. So I'd love to talk about that at least the last 10 minutes. So we can start now, or if you guys want to continue down the path or the questions that we were talking about before. Do y'all have anything else around what we've just been talking about? Become an expert in something and implement it.
I just really liked what Andy said about the measuring it by the phone calls. When I'm looking at AI yesterday and everything, I'm measuring it to, okay, how does that get me in front of a certain amount of people to close deals? So I just appreciate you saying that. And that's how I interpreted yesterday with AI.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Hello,
So, hey, Aaron. So I wanted to see, is everybody plugging into their state brokers meetings? Because they've all been doing a lot of classes and a lot of trainings around, these changes with NAR coming up, and that goes in, to effect where they're going to be, all commissions are going to be out of the MLS next week on the 17th. So is everybody plugging into that? Does everyone feel confident enough through that? I wanted to share a story yesterday that I had with an agent. She was representing a buyer. She's been representing this buyer since September. It was way before this whole NAR stuff. It was an off-market property. They just wanted her help. Anyway, had to get, they'd already found the property. They knew the people that owned it. So needed to get surveyed, all that. So she's been working for all these months, almost a year now, in getting this to the closing table. And so she had a buyer's agreement. They agreed to pay her X%, to facilitate the deal, to handhold him through, to do the contract, all those things. And so she was supposed to have the closing is supposed to be Thursday, tomorrow. Yesterday, she gets a call, and the lender, the buyer knew all along, like they've had multiple conversations. It's a buyer she's known. The buyer knew, and like I said, signed the buyer a contract agreement, but nobody had informed the lender that they were paying this commission. And so everything the lender's done from qualifying this person is all based on not another X dollars, having to be verified through their bank account, all the things that happens on the back end. And so I say all that to say, so now the numbers that got disclosed to the buyer, you have to have the disclosure 3 days ahead of closing. The numbers that got disclosed to the buyer did not have all that included in there. So it's gonna at best delay closing because they have to redisclose. Yesterday, having a conversation with the buyer, he was like, hey, I saw the numbers. I don't have another X thousands of dollars to pay. He said, I thought that was already included in there. So, so she's still working through this, but all that to say, if it's not in the contract, because she wasn't getting it from the seller, she was getting this from the buyer, right? And they knew it. So we need to, as agents, we need to make sure that if your buyer is the one paying your commission, that you send the buyer agreement along with your contract to the lender, or that they are notified on the front end. The title company needs to know on the front end. Everybody involved needs to know who's paying you. And so she was like, man, this is just a lesson learned. And this has nothing to do with NAR, but it has everything to do with NAR moving forward if buyers are paying us directly and it's not part of our contract. Obviously, if we negotiate and the seller's paying, you know, any portion of it or all of it, it's going to be in the contract moving forward.
Let me
Well,
clarify and ask a question at the same time. I guess I want to ask and then clarify, because I've been circling the wagons. I've got 5 takeaways from the NAR settlement that makes it really simple for people to understand. And I guess the states may alter it a bit. But in your situation, I want to ask a lending question, and maybe you guys will know. $400,000 house. I'm the buyer's agent. It has not been negotiated. So this is after August 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. It's not been negotiated. I need to get paid 12 grand according to my arrangement with my buyer because I have a 3% arrangement. When that contract is put through the purchase sale agreement for 400 grand, let's just assume the only representation percentage in that is the listing agreement for listing aside for 3%. Are you saying to me that if I send, as a buyer's agent, if I send my $12,000 request to the lender is going to bake my $12,000 on top? They're not, right?
No.
So then
They just
why
need
do
to
we
know
need to let the
about it.
title company or the lender know that? We just need to make sure that the buyer is prepared to pay us. Why
No,
notification of the others?
because the lender, part of the process is they verify your what's in your account. They got to verify funds. They have to verify funds. And so through the process of approval, they verify funds. So they verify funds based on the contract. So if it's not in the contract and they're paying you another 12,000, they need to know that they have the 12,000. Where did the 12,000 come from? All of that stuff. So there's a lot on the back end.
So they're protecting. So they're protecting my 12,000. They're
Well,
attempting.
sort of.
They're attempting to. They're saying you're not using every one of your dollars as your deposit and down payment. You're actually
Correct.
you've got your 12 grand. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I said that, and Andy's shaking his head for everybody's clarification, and including my own. Again, I've got one of the things I wanted to talk about now that you're talking about it is I've got the 5 takeaways of the NAR settlement that are simple to understand, and everything comes out of that. I don't want to interrupt what you guys are talking about now, so keep flowing, but I'm ready to say that whenever we're ready.
Go.
Well, I was gonna put one thing in there. We, you know, because I have 2 buyer's agents, Aileen and I have informed both of them that not even just at August 17th, but going forward, to absolutely list it in the contract wording, in the verbiage of the contract, exactly who's paying what and to who. So, or to whom, however you say that. But anyway, so even if you have a separate form, a buyer's agency, I don't care. Get that signed too, because you're going to have to, but list it in the actual purchase agreement to put it in there that whoever has agreed to pay the buyer's agency or whatever, that it needs to be listed out on that contract. I mean, and then there's no question about it going forward. I mean, it's written on the contract. I actually had an agent the other day. I was telling her the same thing, and she said, well, you can't write that in the contract. I said, you can write anything in the contract you want to. You can actually say that the buyer requests that the seller stand on 1 foot with one hand tied behind their back and one eye closed when they sign the paperwork. They don't have to agree to it, but you can ask for anything. So you can put anything you want to in there.
So you've got to what you're telling your buyer's agents, even if the buyer's paying, you're putting the buyer will pay eXp Realty $12,000 or 3% of sales price.
Absolutely.
As part of their closing cost at closing. So, and the lender gets a copy of the contract, so they would see it there.
Yep.
So the point is to bringing it up is they need to, the point is your lender needs to know if the buyer's paying. If the buyer's paying. So go ahead, Eric, and share your 5 points.
Okay. And by the way, this is memorialized at 48 minutes after the hour in case we want to take a bite of this for some reason. As many of you know, I don't do a lot of transactions. And for that reason, I don't get bogged down in all of the understanding. but I look at this at a high level, and I've come up with the 5 things that this settlement, I think all agents need to be aware of. Number one, you just talked about one of them. Anything, the settlement was about what goes in the MLS. It's not about what goes in contracts. Okay. So that has two wings to it. Number one, you can write anything in the contract, Andy, correct. And you should, if you write in there that the buyer is going to pay the eXp Realty directly 3% or whatever the number is, then the title company can pick it up there as well. The second thing relating to that is we are not allowed, as you know, to offer any kind of compensation or anything in the MLS, but we can have additional comments everywhere else that we have things. We can say that the seller is open to compensating a buyer's agent. You can't say that in the MLS.
I don't think you can say that a lot of places based on Leo's video.
We'll check again with the state. My broker said.
No, I'm saying Leo, like what Leo said. So we need to talk to our states too to verify what we can and can't. Because I saw some state they can say put a rider on their sign that says my seller paying 2.5% commission or 3% commission. I was like, really?
Well, and again, only after we get past this date in a few days will we know what we really can and cannot do, because the line is still moving. But here's the other 4 I want everybody to understand. Number one is you do need a buyer's agent agreement. Okay, that's number one. We all know that. Number two, no, that's number 2, because number 1 was, again, you can't post it in the MLS, but there are many places you can say that seller, for an acceptable offer, seller is willing to compensate without giving a specific percentage, although they can. So the second point, again, you want a buyer's arrangement. And now with Andy's conversation, you should include that in the contract. Number 3, real important to know is in this transition with the document that most of us are fighting with, that if I'm representing the listing side and I want 3%, but if a buyer comes and is not represented, then I'm allowed to receive, in our case, I'm putting 6%. My seller is going to be aware, which is the 4th point. My seller is going to be aware that their contract, when they come to closing, is probably going to include 3% from me and 3% for a buyer's agent. We need to educate them up front. Now, remembering that other companies may not say that to anybody. They may not tell their seller that you're going to be required to potentially cooperate. Okay, so that's the 4th thing is on that sheet, and I think we all have it, that what are we going to get if we're the seller's agent? In my case, 3%. What are we going to get if we're the buyer's agent? If there's no buyer represented and they ask us to facilitate, the answer is I'm putting 6%, so everybody knows. Lastly, real important, I think, this does go back to the buyer's arrangement, but we all know that if you say 3% in the buyer's agreement, right, then if someone's offering us 4% or 5% or 6%, we can't accept that. Okay? So check with your state how you want to handle that. But remember that this is only regarding, in this state, MLS-related activity. If we go into a new build, new construction, and there's all kinds of incentives, we don't know what those incentives can be. And they can be daunting to the buyer, because that buyer thinks they're going to be able to receive it by going around us, in essence. So one of the ways I've heard, I think it's interesting to write, is I am willing, I am going to ask for anything up to boom, whatever the number is. And if we are dealing with new construction, I am able to receive any and all, right, offerings they're providing to buyer's agents without putting a number. Because some of these places will give you 10 grand. And if you write 10 grand in there, the buyer's going to be like, wait a second, why don't I get that 10 grand? And so check, it's the weird one that I wanted to bring up. But again, with new construction, and check with your broker of your state, can you write I am going to take anything up to, but I'm also able to accept anything over and above this in a new construction, purchase or sale. Cool? So I'd never heard that before, but those are the 5 main pieces of takeaways. And again, all of this will come a lot more clear in about 10 days, because it really will. At that point, we're going to understand, and the training for us will really become more important after the 16th, 17th, 18th.
Yeah.
And here's why.
Yeah.
Because we're going to understand 3 things. Number one, that other agents that are listing are not going to tell their sellers the right information. We know that. Okay. Number 2, we need to be able to learn how to put an offer in, and an offer is now being put in with and covering a 3% or whatever it is, my buyer's representation, right, in the offer. We're all aware of that, but some sellers are not going to be aware of that. Okay. And then the last piece, and everybody's worried about this. Emily just walked in. She's always worried about this. Someone going around me. Someone going around me. Remember 2 things in most cases. New construction, they really can't go around you much. Generally, they just, those companies.
No, like talk through that. So if they, in the past, it didn't benefit them, but with this new change, if buyers come into a new construction world, I mean, I don't know, Jeff.
Our expertise has been this, that, and we've had this recently. We had someone go to a new construction, then ask if they could get any kind of discount off the price because of, and their answer was no.
And every builder, I think, will be different with that. And that is how it's always been. They don't, because they don't want to cut their nose off to spite themselves. And, with buyer's agents, because
I just wanted to bring it up. I wanted to bring it up because some of you might not be aware that in most cases, the builders don't, unless they're independent spec home builders, but the larger companies, for the most part, do not handle worrying about discounts for people if they don't have an agent. They've got it baked into their numbers one way or another. And so you might want to, again, check all of these. In fact, you should check all of these with your broker. This is a 20-minute, 18-minute part of the conversation, but I wanted to make sure we are all up to speed. Now, again, I'm the person that sells the least out of all of you, but I'm overseeing all of this. Jeff, Kathy, any of you that sell a lot of real estate, any alterations to what I've said?
No, I do have one thing to throw in there. I'm actually buying a new construction house right now. I'm going through the first walkthrough today. So, but I asked that question, when we were sitting down negotiating the entire thing, and they were talking about what they were giving us and doing this and doing that. And I said, well, instead of paying me as a real estate agent, I said, because we're allowed 2 transactions a year where I don't have to charge a commission. I said, is there any way that you could just reduce the price in order? And they said, no. They said, so your best bet is just to get paid. And then I said, well, can I use that towards our down payment or closing costs? And they said, no, you have to accept it as a commission, period. Point blank, end of conversation. I was like, okay, no problem. But on the flip side of that now, like if you say like in our area with D.R. Horton, if you're a preferred agent with D.R. Horton, you get 5% of commission on almost every deal. So if you have a buyer's agency, and according to what I've been told, if you have a buyer's agency agreement at 3%, and then you go over to one of these new construction homes that's paying 5%, you can't take it. You have to take 3%, period.
So I do have a clarity question, and I'm doing a thing with our broker here, and I'm going to ask her this too. But I have a clarity question. You can do amendments to your contracts. So in that scenario, are we allowed to do an amendment to our buyer agreement?
You can always update any agreement in law. It's not over lifetime, but you have to update it prior to entering into a contract that they actually enter into.
I think that's risky. The best thing to do is just do a new agreement for that particular property.
You can always go.
That way you know you're safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think that's something we need to get clarity around with our state brokers specifically.
Right.
you know, if we have, I mean, what if you have 5% and then they're given a 6%, you know, just some crazy, it's like, there's always going to be a scenario where, well, not always, but there's potentially going to be a scenario where no matter what we put in there may be a one off that is going to be more. How do we handle that best? Jocelyn?
We have an addendum to ours, so we can edit it. So if it's something
Yeah.
to where we want to edit and reduce the commission, we can. If we want to add to the commission, we can as well. So it's an addendum to the buyer agency agreement.
Yeah.
So it's you're doing an addendum, not an amendment.
Real quick, that thing
I can look and see if it's what it's actually technically called, and I can send it to you all if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an amendment.
I was gonna say that thing that I threw in the chat down there, whatever. I would just, again, run it by your state. I mean, that was something I saw yesterday. I don't know how accurate that is, but I don't know.
Well, that's the NAR, but I do feel like EXP, based on what Leo, that what he did last week, I do feel like EXP is handling things a little bit differently, and in his opinion, leading the charge, and he feels like, you know, everyone's going to follow suit behind us. But I feel like with their legal counsel, if you haven't watched Leo's talk last week, I think everyone should go back and watch that. With legal counsel and the direction they're getting, they're being very conservative, because, you know, what he said is there's a whole slew of real attorneys waiting just for this to go into place for them to just create a whole nother, you know, lawsuit abilities.
And I will tell you this, I have dove down I think this is going to help us as far as recruiting goes, as far as EXP is concerned in the future, because I have dove down the rabbit hole on this thing, and I'm telling you, almost every video, probably 95% of the videos that you're seeing out there where people are talking about this, they're talking about how far above the curve EXP is with this already. That EXP is setting the standard for this whole change, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Where do you find more information on that, Andy?
I just do a YouTube and type in NAR settlement, and I promise you there'll be 900,000 videos pop up.
I understand, but what I was interested in is you said that, and I know they are, but I want something in writing that I can talk to people about, that EXP is leading the way or on top of it more so than other brokerages.
I haven't seen anything in writing. All I'm doing is watching videos, but you can pull a video and pull clips from that and share them with your recruits, because I'm telling you, everybody you talk to, there's this one guy out there does a YouTube channel called BAM, B-A-M, and he talks about EXP all the time. He's not an EXP agent, but he talks about how great EXP is, and, you know, that they're leading the charge in this whole NAR thing, that they're, you know, the forms that we've come out with and everything else, the way we're implementing stuff is just incredible.
Yeah. I think I just put Leo. I think that's the thing he did last week. And I agree, Andy. That's a lot of stuff I'm seeing here, and is, you know, a lot of industry experts are saying that.
I just put something in the chat box that came from our broker yesterday, or earlier this week. It's about how to ask specifically in an offer, and how to get the seller to consent, and how the different ways a seller could actually compensate us. And so again, you might want to save what I just put in as well. A week and a half from now, everybody, we're going to know a lot more. Go, Jeff.
Yeah, no, real quick, just to share. Can I share my screen, Kathy? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the Zoom. Okay, just so you guys can see it, because there are a couple articles out there. Inman last week had this article here. This was good. I sent this to some people. Consumer Watchdog holds up new EXP seller contract as the model, and this is the whole thing right here. I know Leo was actually right after he did the video last week. This was on Housing Wire, you know, and talking about this. And then Leo did that video with Tina Call, which I did put on the, I think I put it on our workplace group, the video for that. You can watch it. If not, just let me know. I can send it out to you. I can repost it. Right after that, he was on Tom Ferry. Tom Ferry had him on his podcast, Leo. and talking about all this stuff. And Leo's actually going on CNN, I think sometime here, like in the next day
I
or
think
two.
he just did. Yeah, he
Did
was
he
talking
just do
about
it?
that on
Yeah.
that
So,
last
I
call.
mean,
Yep.
that's great exposure in terms of like, I mean, the fact that, you know, again, what you're saying, Andy, I mean, there's a lot of, it's crazy out there right now. And
Yeah.
it will be for a few weeks,
It's
but
gonna
I
be
really
a
believe
learning
we're
curve
leading
for
the,
all of us.
we're leading the way in so many ways.
Yeah,
And so,
for sure.
but Steve, these articles right here, this is stuff you can look for and just to have, you know, Housing Wire has one. This was on Inman. And this article was out there all over the place last week. I saw this. So anyway, just an FYI. Okay.
The other big
Thanks.
thing, Eric, your points and your 5 tips is what EXP is not doing.
Yeah.
And agents need to be clear with is they're not collecting the commissions from their seller. It's no longer, I'll take 6% seller. Even if the seller says I'm going to give 3% to a buyer's agent, your listing paperwork doesn't have 6% in there, 3% of it going to a buyer's agent. You're only collecting what you're getting paid as the listing agent. So that's a big difference in how we've handled all our paperwork in our industry up till now. So no longer are we collecting whatever the buyer's agent's going to get, or no longer is that part of our listing paperwork after the 17th.
Say, I've got a listing and a buyer, they're actually on the same contract that went under contract, about 3 weeks ago. So way before the 17th, it doesn't close until August 30th. Do I need to do any additional agreements or anything for that closing?
We are told
Yeah.
pendings roll over without a problem, is what
Yeah.
I've been told.
That's
And
what I've been told
that's
too.
my
I'm just
understanding as
asking.
well. Yep. So I think you're fine.
Okay.
Jeff, any chance for you to post, especially the one that EXP's the great example? Can you post that?
I can. The only problem is it's Inman News. So it's, you know, like if they don't have a subscription, they can't.
Yeah.
Well,
see
can't you
it.
do a picture of it? Can't you do a
I'll see if I can get something. I'll find an article that I can put up there. Yeah.
picture and then
I'll
put
do
it in our
so.
Freedom Team feed? That way anybody can grab at least that image. It's a great image too.
Okay.
I'll repost it to my YouTube community page, and then that way everybody can see it if you want to.
Let us all know
Also,
through Freedom
that
Team
theirs
how that works.
mandated it July 1st. So, but I would also say go back and listen to a couple of recordings in workplace in your state group specifically that's talking about this, because then you're going to hear how your broker wants you handling any and all of this. So, and plug into, just look at the calendar in workplace for your state and make sure you're plugging in. But personally, I think we should all be plugging into our state groups moving forward for the next couple of months. If you're not regularly doing that, it needs to be on your calendar each week, in my opinion, moving forward because it's going to be a little crazy, I think, you know, in a lot of ways for the next couple of months, as every agent from every company here and everywhere else is just, you know, making sure we're getting through this, you know, in the best way. What my biggest concern is that an agent, you know, they screw themselves out of a commission because they didn't put it in their paperwork correctly, you know, all that. So, okay. Well, hey, y'all have a great day, great weekend. We will be on tomorrow for a rev share led by Eric, who was just here. With the Q&As on the rev share side of things. So if that's something that you want to learn and focus and mastermind on, come on tomorrow, same time, same link. Y'all have a great day.
You too. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.